Hello my friends, this is Sylvie Curry, Lady of Q. And once again, I am in my kitchen. I'm doing some more baking today, and that being something savory. I'm going to be making a quiche. I'll tell you a little bit more about it as we go along. But once again, it's April 21st, 2020, and you all know we're still on lockdown, so what do I do to entertain myself during the day? I cook. So this is what we're going to be doing today. Hang in there and let's get through this. This is going to be a deep dish quiche. So I've got a 9-inch springform pan. I've got some pie dough, which was in my freezer, and I thawed it out. I made this a while ago, and it's just a basic pie crust. I believe I used something like 1 1/4 cups of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 cup of butter, and about 1/4 cup of water. And that's just a basic process where you just take the cold butter and you mix it up with the flour to get fine little granules. And then you add your salt and your water and you put it together and you've got your dough. To start this, I'm going to take some flour, put it here on my clean counter. And we'll open up the pie dough. And we'll roll that out. Roll it out into a circle, which will fit this springform pan. I want to make sure that it will fit my pan and come up the sides. And they need a little bit more. Rolling out here. Okay, we're going to go for that. And to get it in my pan, I'll just put it on my rolling pin. Take it and put it over the pan to get it almost in there. That worked a bit. And then we'll take it and sort of push it up the sides of that pan. Get it in there. Sort of get it up in all those crevices. And we're good to go. I'm going to now take this pie dough and put it in the refrigerator and get it cold again so when we're ready to add our filling in a little bit. These are the ingredients for my quiche. This is going to be a ham, asparagus, onion quiche with goat cheese. So we'll start off, and most of the ingredients that I'll be using are things that I have here on hand that I pulled out of the freezer or out of the pantry. I've got ham. This is 8 ounces of ham. The recipe actually called for 12 ounces of ham. This is all I have, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the goat cheese. The cheese that required for the recipe was 8 ounces, and this is a 10.5 ounce of goat cheese. I've got asparagus, and that's probably about, maybe a little bit, about a cup or so of asparagus cut into small bite-sized pieces. I've got 2 onions that I've sliced up. I'm going to be using 7 eggs. The recipe called for 3 cups of heavy cream. I only had 2 cups left, so I've got 2 cups of heavy cream, and I'm going to supplement that with a cup of almond milk. In addition, I've got 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and that'll be used to saute or caramelize my onions. I've got about 2 tablespoons of water. That also goes in to caramelize the onion. Salt and pepper to taste. I've got about a half a teaspoon of thyme. And those are the ingredients, in addition to the pie crust that I showed you earlier. I've got my 3 tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. I'm now going to add the onions. Easier maybe just to use my hands. Great tools they are. To caramelize these onions, it's going to take a little while, so it's just going to be a lot of cooking. This is on a medium heat. I may wind up lowering that a little bit. In addition to having the onions in there, I'm going to add my water. And we'll continue to monitor this and get these onions nice and caramelized. At this point, we're ready to put in our ham. Put that in and combine it with my caramelized onions. And the ham is already cooked, so this is just to warm it over and to combine so the flavors melt together. And with that ham, I have 2 types of ham in there. I have a deli ham, and it's probably about 2 ounces of deli ham and about 6 ounces of a ham that I had from the holidays. That I had in the freezer, and took it out and cut it up and make some quiche. This ham has been combining with the onions for about 3 or 4 minutes. Now I'm going to add in the asparagus. And we'll let that cook for probably another 3 or 4 minutes. I've got my asparagus, ham, and onions where I want it. I turned off the heat, and I'm going to let this set aside, and I'll go work on the next phase of building this quiche. This is going to cool off some. We're going to now combine our eggs with our milk mixture, salt, pepper, and our thyme. And I'll start off by beating the eggs to get that dispersed evenly. I'm now going to add my heavy cream, the milk, which is actually almond milk, salt and pepper, and this is probably about a half a teaspoon of pepper, and about a teaspoon of salt. And our thyme, that's about a half a teaspoon of thyme. And we'll combine all of those ingredients. I am now ready to assemble this quiche. I've got my oven set for 350 degrees convection. And I'm going to start by layering first the ham, asparagus mixture, and a little bit more than a half of that at first, then a little bit more than half of the goat cheese, and then some of the egg mixture on top of that. And then we'll start all over again until we have it layered in our pan. And I'll take some of that ham mixture, put it over the bottom of the pan. Try to evenly coat it so that everyone gets an equivalent bite. I'll show you what that first looks like. Get it towards the edges also. Then we're going to go with our goat cheese and we'll crumble that up all over. And as I mentioned before, a little bit more than half of this. Then we're going to take our egg mixture and ladle that evenly. And we'll go with the rest of our ham, asparagus, and onion mixture and combine that all over. I should have done more to keep it evenly, shouldn't I have? But we'll get that coated in there. We'll finish off with our goat cheese. Put the rest of it in. Finish off with some more of our egg mixture. And if you see that you can't get it all in there, and then it's going to be too much, then just back off and we can have it later on and make some scrambled eggs. So this is our quiche, and it's ready to go in the oven, and the oven is set, as I mentioned, 350 degrees convection. We'll cook this up and we'll come back and we'll serve it up. I forgot to mention what our cooking instructions were going to be. I'm actually going to put foil over the top of this and cook it for about 90 minutes and then take that off and then cook it probably for about another 30 minutes without the foil on it. In addition, I've got a pan with some foil on it, and I'm going to put my springform pan in there. And I'm doing that because, once again, it is a springform pan and I don't want it to leak. And I'll try to get the foil around it just in case it does leak out. It won't go all over the place. Now we're ready for the oven. My quiche is out of the oven. It's looking gorgeous here. It rose up quite a bit, and I expect it to flatten out a little bit as it cools off. But it's looking really yummy. It's got some jiggle, but not sloshy, so I know it's done. And I even stuck a toothpick in it just to make sure nothing came out, and we're good. Color's fantastic. None leaked out of the springform pan. That's a good thing. We'll let it cool, and when it's cool enough to cut into, we'll look at a slice.